This podcast was created on the lands of the Ngunnawal people, the Wurundjeri people, and Ngāti Pawa. We acknowledge the contributions of Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, and Maori people to making rugby league the greatest game of all.
You're listening to NRL Hellmouth, the podcast where we open up a portal to the rugby league realm to see what horrors and delights we can unearth. In an interview with The Guardian the other day, Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters said he's had about 430 sessions of therapy in the last year and a half. To which I say, Dave, mate, 6 hours of therapy a week is amateur hour compared to most rugby league fans. But we carry on as best we can, and there's no better rugby league psychotherapists to help you work through your Steen-related issues than these two. Daniel and James, g'day guys.
Pennies and bucket hats, and it's lovely to be here. Thank you, Simon. How are you, James?
Terrible to be here.
Oh, joining us from your deathbed.
But
thanks for showing up.
I'm contractually obligated to be here. Thank you for having me.
No sick leave here at the Hellmouth. Lot to talk about today. Drugs, conference room signage, a whole lot more. Plus, NRL Book Club is back, so let's open it up and raise some hell.
There's the kickoff. Let the party begin.
I'd unreservedly apologise to everyone for my actions.
I didn't intend to disrespect anybody, and I definitely didn't do it on the car.
Well, I've been watching the Seagulls, and not one of them is eating. This is a horror movie. Rugby league. What else can this grand final provide?
Does it get stacked live on television?
Stop it, it's starting to hurt.
First up, let's do a bit of a check-in on the enshittification of rugby league we've been covering the past few weeks. After a couple of weeks of massive scores, things were maybe possibly looking slightly better last weekend. We only had 3 games that could be considered blowouts, and the rest were pretty normal rugby league scores, including 3 games that were decided by exactly 4 points. Now, if you'll indulge me for a moment,
Sure.
I'd like to go on record and say that 4 points is the perfect margin for any rugby league game from a spectator's point of view. Means it was a close game that at least in theory could have gone either way to right up until the final whistle. Not so close, though, that your teams start pinging field goals back and forth or trying to milk penalties in front of the posts and all the other things that this podcast stands against.
Shame.
It's in the golden plaque above our office conference room, yeah.
So, yeah, what do you think? Is this evidence that the NRL is crawling its way out of enshittification, or do you think round 3 was merely a bubble in the sewerage pond of the 2026 season?
I think it's still wait and see. Let's collect a few more data points to see which way we are trending, rather than just the incidental game-to-game figures. But, yeah, it was certainly, a better spectacle. And I totally agree. I think 4 points is it's the sweet spot of a spectacle. And unfortunately, I think both of our teams were on the wrong end of that four-point
Doesn't matter. I was so
equation.
delighted by the 4-point scoreline, I didn't care.
Very noble of you, Simon.
I'd rather lose by 4 points than win by 50, Dan.
Oh, you're a bigger man than me. I still can't handle it.
I'd rather win by 50. I'd rather win by 50.
Yeah, I think I'm still in that camp too.
That's the diversity of the team, I suppose.
Yeah, we canvass the full spectrum of fandom.
I have a bit more, shall we say, tolerance of loss than you Storm fans. So, it really doesn't bother me.
Don't out us, Simon. I'm trying to stay, as an impartial fan of the game rather than,
Sure.
one of those really hateable Storm fans, so let alone 2 of us.
Might have to post some of your text messages from the other night to the social media. It was a bit of a...
Release the Dan files.
Bit of a revelation.
Yes,
what you
that's
like
right.
off mic.
That's the expose when things go downhill between
right.
us.
When we have our Stuart McGill moment, it all falls apart.
But when the tape goes, very pro Love Brisbane tight match.
Yeah, that's right.
Great guys, great bunch of guys.
It's really good to see them, fight against adversity. They're dealing with a lot at the club at the moment. So, I felt thrilled. Good for them. Would you say, was there any change to the 6 again counts?
Yes.
The few games that I saw seem to still be a pretty high high factor. But
I was going to bring that up because the Storm Broncos game had 13 restarts in the first half and then just 3 in the second half, and they didn't have any after the 51st minute. These stats are once again courtesy of the Rugby League eye test. And I noticed something similar in the Raiders-Bulldogs game. There were a lot of set restarts in the first half and then very few in the second. So I'm wondering if this is the unofficial approach, is because I don't think that the amount of infringements changed in the second half. If it's about if one team gets ahead, let's just go back to playing normal rugby league rather than Valando ball and see if the other teams can catch up if one team's dominating in that.
It is such a fascinating echo chamber of knowing where that change is occurring. Listening to a lot of player podcasts, there seems to be a whole different bunch of approaches, both at individual and team strategy level, and that's interesting enough. But of course, there must be conversations being had at league level where they're speaking to the refs. But it's definitely the biggest factor in the game at the moment that is impacting the results, and it's definitely one that is the experiment is live, very much happening before our eyes, game at a time.
More stats on that is this compared to this time last year, set restarts are up 63%. Penalties are only down 8%. So it's not that we're seeing those 6 agains called where it would have been a penalty last year. They're actually kind of adding more. And repeat sets now make up 37% of all sets, and 63% of tries are coming from repeat sets. So that seems to correlate quite significantly with some of the bonkers score lines we've been seeing. But yes, we'll see what happens.
Put it on the shelf for another week.
We will continue to follow the sport's downward trajectory.
And don't forget, from last week, large sign, a threat. I was actually thinking this week, I think the first one was at the 10th, 6 again, we ride or something, but really dial it back to 6 or 5.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've given them the warning. The 10 is just a shot across the bow, but now we mean business. Yeah. And we cannot wait until the energy of the Alex Johnston field emancipation. We can't wait for that memory to disappear. We need to keep on with that memory while it's rich. So I'm hoping this week at least a few people
remember that we the people
jump
have the power
and go. And even if you're taken out, you're a hero.
Yeah.
And we know what you're doing it for.
That's
and
right.
we'll sort of claim you, even if you're just streaking in piss, we'll claim it.
You are part of a bigger movement.
Yeah.
Well, James, I wonder if the big change between the first and second half in the games this week in terms of set restarts is actually a result of your call for revolution last week, because 13 set restarts in the first half of that Storm Broncos game probably would have had a few guys right at the fence, leaning over, not saying anything, just kind of standing there, kind of, flexing.
Yeah.
And, the touchy notices and says something through his mic to the ref, and what do you know, second half, things are looking a little better, aren't they?
I've got a risk here, and we need a mitigation plan at halftime. Call Andrew and Peter.
The NRL hit by another drug scandal.
Has been rocked by yet another potential drug scandal.
Full bag of what's believed to be cocaine. Drug.
Illegal drugs are bad news. Don't mess with them.
Just returning to another topic that we've spoken about a little bit on this show previously, which is not the emancipation of fields, it's the emancipation of the people. And Isaiah Iongi this week had his sentence handed down to him from the independent. What is it?
The chief narc, I think, is the
chief narc.
Independent decision maker, guys. The IDM.
And when I first saw it, I was very worried that he was going to get banned or something like that, and I was most annoyed because if you recall, all that happened was a couple of nice photos of him was released on social media, and then everybody got to celebrate what looked like a good time.
Bit of the old Cooper Chronic.
Yeah.
He's back.
And as it
smoking a nice Cam Blunster. Right down to the Steve Roach.
Oh, this guy again.
As it turns out, According to the Sydney Morning Herald, one of the free articles I can read in a month finally worked for me.
Good.
Those were old photos.
Okay.
They weren't contemporaneous, and someone put them out there. Anyway, it was found that he did bring the game into disrepute, which is probably the lowest possible bar is disrepute, because literally any time you do anything in the world, you are somehow, I mean, it's very hard to gain repute. All you're doing is removing repute that you've already got.
Very true.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a game that's had no repute for a very long time. Sort of to get back to repute zero, it's going to take years. It's already in disrepute for a range of things. So him
repute zero sounds
photos,
like a great concept that we could get on board. bring the NRL back to zero repute.
So all he's done is taken it from being disreputed to, 0.000% more disreputed.
Yeah. Are you aware, is the process that he has, well, he was given a certain amount of days, 5 or 6 days to respond.
Yeah.
Is that when the punishment gets handed down? Like, unless he sort of come up with something?
Well, yeah, unless he comes up with something, which is that his one game suspension, suspended, which means no game suspension.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha,
so this means if
Comes
he then
into
does something else wrong in the off-field sense, this game will then be added to that suspension.
Yeah.
If he finds himself at the right end of a nice Cameron spliff in future.
For example.
Because it's also location dependent as well. Cannabis use is decriminalised in many states in Australia, and here in the ACT it's essentially, under certain circumstances it's not illegal. If he happened to be here for a Raiders game, well, where's the disrepute there? Obeying the laws of the territory you're in.
You raise a good point, Simon.
I've got a good idea, actually. We could just put out ad hoc pro bono legal advice on behalf of players without them having to sign up for us. That could be a good little... Could be a good little side... Oh, it's not side business.
Do we get in trouble?
Eventually we would, but I mean, that would be a good thing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if Simon got him off the suspended sentence, that would be a boon for our little legal firm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously not a trained lawyer, but I have quoted the Australian consumer law many times to online retailers and got what I wanted. So I feel like it's a small step from there to, potential criminal defence.
Drug charges. Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, that's about it. I mean, I was going to say the bar of repute has been set with that one, pretty low.
Yeah.
Let's see if anyone else can get under it this year. Active player, drug-related, that's what we're looking for. Obviously, former player, drug-related, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Every week there's some depressing tale about what's happened post-game. And they just got to learn it's not all Breaking Bad out there. I've never watched that show. Is that what happens in the show?
That's what happens. Yeah.
The foul play far outweighs the dickhead.
Now, guys, just while we're still on the topic, got some breaking news. I just received a text from an insider saying that
goodness,
Isaiah Iongi may look to sign with either the West Tigers or St George Illawarra Dragons next year. Apparently he wants to play for a joint venture.
He's done it again. From one drama to another, unless you've been living under a rock this week in the NRL or even the last couple of weeks, you no doubt would have come across the Broncos drama regarding Gordon Tallis having a bone to pick with the administration and the current coach, Michael Maguire. It's really become one of the greatest soap operas in a long time. Can you guys remember such a good quality public spat?
That's the kind of petty rugby league drama I live for, Dan.
Yeah, yes. Particularly with Gordy saying every time he's asked, it's all good, I don't really want to talk to it, I'm fine. And then anyway, go, come on, Gordy, hey, Gordy, you must be bloody annoyed, Gordy. Yeah, that's right. And he's like, no, it's actually, I mean, it's pretty sad, but I'm just going to get on with it. It's all good. Nah, Gordy, what are you reading? They've done it again, yeah, mate.
I feel like if we're talking about the incident of the week, which was having his name removed from the conference room at Broncos HQ and replaced with NRLW captain Ellie Brigginshaw, who's, has won 4 premierships, I think, with the Broncos. He probably actually doesn't care that much. I mean, I'm unlikely to have a conference room named after me at my work unless I die in a tragic accident, I think, and they might do it as a memorial. But if they did and then they took it away, I'd be like,
got a higher chance of having a conference room named after her at your work than you do, which is crazy. But that just goes to show the talent that she's got.
Exactly.
But it has been a wonderful soap opera and a really engaging story. And we could pick through all the details and tear it apart in a very boring traditional style. But I thought the best way to do it would be to explain it via a Latin American telenovela, just to sort of probably, highlight a few areas and really give people some probing insight, I think is what I'm looking for. So without further ado, I'm presenting to you Los Secretos del Valle de Rugby. In the grand estate of Valle de Rugby, the proud Broncos family ruled over fields of green and the whispers of a small town. But pride has a price. The matriarch Dona Kevine Broncos had 4 years commanded the household with her iron will and golden heart. Yet the younger generation, weary of her ways, conspired to allow her rest in a modest house on the edge of town. Beneath smiles and polite farewells, betrayal brewed like storm clouds. When Kevina's carriage rolled away, her family smiled for the first time in years. The elder sister, Maria Magdalena, known as Madge, took control of the estate, her voice steady, her eyes shining with ambition. Under her hand, the Broncos legacy prospered. The children flourished too. Adem, Toro Salvaje, charming but cunning. Risso, the golden-haired one, adored by all. Payano, strong of will, slow to speak. And Cotonio, beautiful and dangerous in equal measures. But in the shadowed drawing room, Don Gordonio Talisso, Kevina's devoted husband, could not stay silent. "You have taken her throne," he murmured, his voice trembling. "And you, Adem, you plotted this exile." The words hung heavy in the candlelight, a spark in a room full of secrets. Watching from his balcony above the valley, Senor Deva Donahi, owner of the estate lands and master of all that grew there, sipped his brandy in silence. Gordiano's outburst had displeased him. By morning, the name Gordiano Broncos was gone from the family hall's golden plaque, replaced in gleaming letters, Ali Brigginshaw, a name that shimmered like a warning. Far from the candlelit hall's stable boy Benito Teo watched the golden plaque being removed. "They change names like they change masters," he muttered, stroking the muzzle of his favourite horse, Alfilangues. As his shadow grew long and sky heavy and silent, he packed his weathered saddlebag. "No loyalty lasts forever," Benito said softly, glancing back at the glowing estate. "But betrayal rides fast." And as the sun set behind the hills of Rugby Valley, thunder rolled. For in Los Secretos del Valle de Rugby, no exile is ever forever, and every name carved in gold can still be erased.
The fastest man on the planet. He's the fastest man on the planet. He'd have got there, Rabbits. He'd have got there.
Guys, I've got a new segment. It's called This Week in Hell. Can you please do your best version of a This Week in Hell theme breaker?
Sure. See what I've got.
Go for it. It's called This Week in Hell.
It's called This Week in Hell.
It's called This Week in Hell. Oh, wow, Dan, that's amazing. Thank you very much. Just looking ahead this week, there are some peaches of matches coming up that have got stories in them that do not necessarily relate to the play on the field, but the drama of it. And that is the soup that I lick up off the floor like I'm a dirty little dog. The first one is Seagulls Roosters. Obviously, Daly Cherry Evans returns to 4 Pines Park for the first time, a great servant of the Manly Sea Eagles. good for him that the Roosters have obviously got a huge amount of institutional knowledge as it relates to bringing a player over from one club and putting them into their own club. So there'd be a full scaffolding of what's to expect.
I think you're right.
Maybe some Vaseline to be able to wipe the spit away easier, earplugs so he doesn't hear the taunts, keeping his kids away from the ground, all that sort of stuff. They've got that in their playbook.
He would have done an online training module this week at work called "What to Do When Your Old Club Hates You Because We Stole You."
I think I can recall when Cooper Cronk first came back to Melbourne to play a game once he'd moved to the Roosters, and let me tell you, when he made an error, they really wrung out the "you stuffed up" with a ferocity. I've never heard it with such venom. You stuffed up, and it was a cutting nature, and I'm sure he would have teared up.
Anyway, I hope he gets through it. It's always a bit of fun, so that's a good one to watch out for.
For sure.
More excitingly, and this one I'm actually genuinely looking forward to, Raiders-Sharks Sunday afternoon, the battle of the shit stadiums. So last week, obviously, Cameron Ciraldo tried to open a window. It had been done thousands of times before, okay? For some reason, he couldn't work it out, and he ended up breaking it. His hand was then in the way of the glass, which, in stopping the glass from falling on the ground, he cut himself stupidly like a goon and then whinged about it in the press conference like a little baby. So mercifully, the Sharks' home ground is pretty terrible. I think Craig Fitzgibbon knows his way around the intricacies of such a ground, the nooks and crannies. And I think now when he's in that coach's box, I don't think it's got glass in it because I saw it the next night in Super Rugby. It wasn't there. He'll be fine to either bring a nice coat, one of those puffy Kathmandu jackets, maybe some gloves, and then have a nice Milo while he's watching the game from the comfort of a windowless box. Yeah. Simon, when people make fun of not your home ground, but your team's home ground, is it like one of those things where you make fun of it, it's okay, but if somebody else makes fun of it, you don't really appreciate it, or you don't like it?
No, it's a terrible stadium.
Right.
Yeah, it's. it has got one thing I love about it, which is that it's built next to a nature reserve, and there's not any other rugby league games I'm aware of where they have that drone shot, and you just see the canopy of gum trees stretching in the distance. So I love that aspect, but apart from that, no, it's definitely well past its best.
I think I've never seen a fan base more willing to or more ready to seize an opportunity of renovation, because it's like all of the response was, even from Ricky Stewart, he was like, it's a shit stadium.
Ricky's
it seems like all of the fans are trying to use this as the greatest opportunity we can probably get to actually get this thing upgraded.
Yeah, it's definitely this has been going on for years. They've been talking about a new stadium for well over a decade, I think, in Canberra, and they were going to do one in the city centre, which, while I think would be great, it's also there's not really room for a stadium in the city centre. So they did more feasibility studies, which we are still waiting the results of the latest one. But in the meantime, all the building costs have gone up significantly. So what would have been an affordable stadium is now probably impossible to pay for without sending the territory bankrupt, especially at the price of some of these Canberra tradies, John.
Yeah, well, another thing about Canberra is disappointing they can't put it in the sky, because what we know about Canberra is there's a lot of hot air.
Really nice, James.
Last one for this week in hell, which is a great game always. Spoon Bowl, St George versus Gold Coast, last game of Sunday.
Looking forward to this.
So one of those teams who have not won yet are going to win this week, which is going to be a thrill. And it also gave me another idea that I just want to flag. And that is for the opening round going forward, if we don't have Vegas, and let's hope sometime in 2040 we don't. This is what the first 3 rounds should be. You ready? You do Thursday is the reverse fixture of the previous year's preliminary final.
Okay.
So if last year was Storm versus Sharks and Brisbane versus Penrith, it would be like Penrith v Storm and Brisbane v Sharks. So the first one would be Penrith v Storm. Okay, so you reverse that fixture, and that would be a good game. That's your Thursday night. Then your Friday afternoon game is Spoon Bowl of the previous year, which means that the two worst teams of last year play in that annoying Friday 6 p.m. slot, and you're guaranteed that one of those loser teams gets to win a game to start the season.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other Friday night game is the other reverse preliminary final fixture.
Oof, that is a strong start.
Yeah.
And my final thing for this week in hell that I'm looking forward to is the continued introduction of Cooper Johns into the 2GB continuous call team. I've been a big fan of their social media output the last couple of weeks and its introduction of Cooper. And he's a real fish out of water with those older polyester wearing gents. There was a great little clip of Cooper saying the best pizza option is to get any pizza you like, and then a pottle of butter chicken sauce, not butter chicken, just the sauce of butter chicken. And then you're just dipping that pizza of your choice into the sauce and enjoying it. And that's the fresh take I think that Cooper can bring the storied 2GB continuous call team. So
wow,
that's all looking good.
I mean, it helps keep them young as well. It's like getting a puppy for your old dog. It's keep them young and, keep them around for a few more years, I think.
And hopefully Emma Lawrence is calling another match this week. She was the first female NRL caller, play-by-play caller last weekend. So that was both a good step forward, but also what is going on? And in the year of our Lord, 2026, so this is the first time we had a first play-by-play caller. I do find sometimes when new callers of any type start, or commentators or sideline reporters, there's a unfortunate need for them to bloke it up a little bit.
Yep.
Similar effect to when you get a tradie around, you sort of want to,
that's right.
Speak their language.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that Emma in future, and I don't have Triple M, so don't know what it was like, but in future, if she could maybe introduce a new type of calling that isn't the aggro-centric, boisterous call, she has an opportunity to do that, and
professional,
we very much support
sensible calling.
It's part of a slow process, I fear.
I noticed when we were, listeners will notice that our little stings between segments, we often have little pieces of rugby league commentary that we've included that are a bit ridiculous. And I know when we were putting those together, I had looked very hard to find more than one that had a female voice doing commentary, and there are no good ones because women commentators tend to be there because they're very knowledgeable and professional about the game rather than just having played the game previously like a lot of the male commentators. So the commentary is too sensible for this to include and stings for this podcast, unlike the buffoons on Channel 9.
So up your game. We need to have some ridiculous statements from female commentators. But, that's the long game. So we look forward to having some ridiculous content.
Either or, Emma. Yeah, either or. We're easy. Yeah.
Speaking of long-term development, I've... obviously, what are we, 6 episodes in? I just wanted to have a little bit of a internal podcast, PDR, just a general review to make sure we're moving in the right direction. I have my concerns.
I'm glad you waited until we were recording to bring this up, Dan.
That's good. I just wanted to have a record of it. Look, I'll just jump straight into it, and that is that our names are not good enough. We want to hold our ground in the robust environment of rugby league media, and our names are Simon, James and Dan. I'm looking around at some of the other podcasts that are within our market. We've got Natty, Rango and Wooker, Longy, Biss and Bergs, Husey, Paps and Money, Kevy and Dobbo, Brandy and Jimmy, Blake and the Pork. I mean, James, Simon and Dan, they're just not going to cut it. I'm sort of looking at there's a few model options that I can see out there. We can go down the 110% banter bros. We can go Sudsy, Jizza and Dangles.
Yes.
We could go down the commercial radio angle, go Syme, Jazz and the Drop. I'm also thinking another option could be Larko, Manus and Torps, which is sort of pretending to be ex-players that no one ever knew.
Oh, yeah, nice one, yeah.
But I would like to open it up to our fans, our listeners, and get their suggestions if they could write in at hellmates@nrlhellmouth.com with some suggestions. If they do get stuck, there's always a time-honoured tradition, which is the single regular name plus the single stupid name and then a title. So, for instance, Matty Choppers and the Chief, or Dave Chinwag and the Professor, Gracie Slaz and the Colonel, or Steve-O Vestibule and the Regional Manager. Obviously, some are better than others, but that's up to you. So, hellmates@nrlhellmouth.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to welcome you to
NRL
Book Club presented by
NRL Hellmouth.
And the holidays are here, and that means this month's drink pairing is peppermint mocha with flavors of chocolate and peppermint. It's a merry, 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 merry minty way to warm up this season, along with a great book. And I have just the one for you right here.
Thank you very much, friend of the show, Oprah Winfrey. Big Gold Coast Titan fans, Oprah, did you know that? They do exist.
I didn't know that.
This is NRL Book Club, where we bring some of the forgotten texts of rugby league literature to a wider audience in this attention-hungry digital age. And today we're reading another piece from 1994's In a League of Their Own 2. And this week's author is Tony Rea, who played hooker for the Brisbane Brothers in the Queensland Comp and then the North Sydney Bears in what was then called the NSWRL. And no lie, they have misspelled Tony's surname in this book, the publishers.
Oh my God. Good.
It's spelled REA and they've spelled it RAE.
Good start.
Yeah, good start. But we like to share an author's bio before we dive into a reading. So here's a little bit about Tony's career from the back of the book.
Thank you.
As captain of the North Sydney Bears, Tony Rea knows all about laughing in the face of adversity. Almost said diversity then. Yet Tony and his teammates reckon they'll be the ones doing the smiling when the Bears break the drought. Just when that might be, Tony can't say, but he's not adverse to a chuckle or two while we wait. Now, guys, it's often said that there are three main types of conflict in literature. Man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus self. And incredibly, this week's reading manages to combine all three into one short yet haunting story.
Is this one of these ones that last like a page and a half?
It's literally a page and a half. Yeah. But, proof that you don't need to write a lot in order to say a lot. Anyway, this story is called Whitewater, White Faces.
Oh, gosh.
Dan,
when I was playing it might not. I can see you covering your face down. I think you might be thinking this is a different angle than what it's going to be.
I'm concerned. I have concerns.
When I was playing for Brothers in Brisbane, one year we won the comp and headed up to Cairns to celebrate. We've been on the grog for a few days when we decided to hire a bus and driver and take us up the mountains for some sightseeing. When we've got up there, our coach, the legendary Ross Strudwick, notices these rapids going back down the mountains. Hey, he says, how about we swim back down the rapids and the bus can pick us up down the bottom? This sounds absolutely crazy, but somehow we let Struddy talk us into it. There's about 12 of us, with blokes like Mark Coyne and Peter Gill. Actually, at first it wasn't too bad. Maybe it was all the grog we'd drunk, but we really got a rush zooming down those rapids.
Oh, my God.
Mark Coyne and I started mucking around and swimming out about 30 metres in front of everyone else. After a while, we come to this nice still part and we're having a race. All is fine until we realise that the current is pulling us very quickly towards these rocks and we realise there's a big waterfall on the other side. We've turned around and we're swimming as fast as we can towards the side, screaming and swearing. The other blokes further up the river has seen what's happening and pulled over to the side and hopped out. Coyne and I have made it to these slippery rocks, but we just can't hold on. And finally, with one last shit, over the falls we go. I'm sure we're dead, but somehow we fall about 6 or 7 metres into shallow, rocky water and survive. We've swum over to the shore, bruised and shaken, but still alive. I've looked back up, and there, peering over the edge, is Strutty. Over the noise of the water, I've heard him shout out what I think is, "Are you all right?" We've nodded and waved, feeling happy to be in one piece. Trouble is, Strutty, who is mad as a cut snake, has actually yelled, "Was it all right?" And the next thing, as we're sitting there looking up with our mouths open, over the falls come these other 10 lunatics, one at a time. All of which would have been pretty funny if Peter Gill hadn't broken his hip and the rest of us hadn't had to carry the heavy bastard all the way back to the bus. The end. What do you make of that one?
My favourite part is it, can you remind me something? Is it, "I'm sure we're dead"? One of the recollections is a moment where he is alive, but he thinks he's dead.
Yes.
While, having fallen to the depths, well, the shallow depths in this case. There's something, quite existential about that experience. I think so brought too. That back.
And that's what I took out of it as well. Is that these men are rehearsing their own mortality, if you like, through this ritualised high risk behaviour.
Yeah.
And then we have, having survived that near-death experience, the author Tony Rea refers to the one character who suffered real harm from this incident, Peter Gill, as a bastard that they have to haul back to the bus. No longer a man, but a burdensome reminder of their own transience on this earth. And that's a burden that all of us must carry.
Oh, my gosh, Simon, yes, you're absolutely right. I'm guessing that sort of came to the surface after you read it maybe your 8th or 9th time.
It's a story that invites deeper reflection, yeah. The roar of the waterfall as a metaphor for the cultural noise of alcohol, competition and camaraderie that, interferes with the clear thinking amid these times of group dynamics.
Yeah, and the kinetic energy of rugby league, that it's not only on the field, it's in all facets of life.
Correct.
A team of a cricket team would not have natively followed the two avant-garde down the waterfall.
I dare say a cricket team or any other team wouldn't have just seen a raging rapid outside of a bus and said, "Let's just hop in there and use that to get home."
That's true, but a rugby league team would.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why
we're
reminder,
here. It's not an 80-minute-a-week job. It's a lifestyle choice. And this story, I think, demonstrates that.
Well, what a wonderful tale, Simon. I feel like there's definitely some, there's some magic and some transformation as part of that tale. And, I feel better for the for the journey.
An unsettling meditation on masculine bravado and group identity, Dan. And we'll be back with some more of those in future NRL Book Clubs in the coming weeks and months.
We love the brilliant Ryan Pappenhausen, but Storm fans might be asking the brilliant Ryan Pappenhausen.
Okay, now it's time to take care of some sponsor business. The following message is from Supercoach Anthony Seibold. G'day, and do you remember the Angry Birds? Little fellas who you flung about on your phone and tablets trying to smash all those gutless pigs? Well, I bloody do. They ruined my life, but with your help, that can all change. In 2009, I let a mate of my brother-in-law talk me into purchasing a container of Angry Birds merch. We're talking really flash gear, deluxe plush toys, pewter miniatures, all the little flying fellas, most of it individually numbered, like that top shelf stuff from Franklin Mint, about 300,000 units. Yes, the Angry Birds bubble has long since burst, but the items are still in brand new with tags condition, and while family members have suggested emphatically that I flog it under cost just to help me and my family move on, I know the quality of the stuff would make it criminal for me not to sell it at regular asking price, plus inflation and a reasonable share of 17 years of storage costs. So, make my midlife bind your lucky opportunity. Check out some of these cheeky little fellas. Redbird.
Strong-willed, outspoken and decisive.
The little blue fellas.
Resourceful and inventive.
Yellow triangle fella.
Fast and competitive, but harbouring internal insecurities.
The egg layer.
Laid back, fun-loving and room for personal growth.
Big exploding bloke.
Hot-tempered, unhinged, but great value at parties.
There's even a bunch of pigs in there, but I get it if you prefer to stick with the birds. And none of that second and third gen birds, just your OG legends. And if you think this is some kind of collab with the team I coach, the Manly Seagulls, you're wrong. I was still coaching in Wales when all this kicked off, and getting a job with that Angry Bird mascot has actually been really triggering. So what do you want me to do? Give them away? Get real and get your Angry Birds merchandise now. And the usual stream of contact details. Send them at www.this040.
So just want to cut you off quickly, Dan, with how you're about to answer my question.
No. Hey, before we go on, I've negotiated a very good deal. We've got $12,000 worth of Angry Birds merch. So,
Dan, is that $12,000 of futures, as of 2050, if you keep the plush toys in mint condition, and you've accepted his prediction?
There
of
are
cost,
some
or
dubious valuations here. He's got, what is this? I've got written there: limited edition Big Yellow fella vase number 5 of $306,000. Which is disappointing. I would have hoped that we could at least get one each, but I'll speak to him and we'll sort that out. But 12,000K.
Yeah, and I mean, Angry Birds and Manly Sea Eagles are probably a good go well together, because I don't think either of them have been relevant since about 2010.
That's very funny, but please don't mention that to Anthony. It's very yeah.
Time to close up the Hellmouth for another week. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it a lot. Please give us a follow on the socials or shoot us a review on your podcast app, and we'll see you again next week. For something to mull over until then, here's James's final thought.
You are yet to learn how to open a window. You do it so poorly that it smashes all over your hand, cutting you, and it's all your fault. Don't worry, dear listener. There's 4 days of rugby league coming up. You can sit down with your bloodied, potentially gangrenous hand and enjoy the greatest game of all. Have a great week.
A little puff of Chong Trebojevic, having a cheeky Jared Toker, nice bit of weed Marnie, grinding up some Budson Young, some nice sticky Kyle Flanaganja.
Flanaganja. It's a long bow, but I love it.
Yeah, well, I think that's it.